welcome our guest today to In Layman's Terms, Dan Bormaoui. So Dan, I'm going to give you a little bit about what we do, and this is hopefully it's going to help the direction of our conversation. Of course, this to me is a little personal, but I'm gonna be very professional about this. First of all, so In Layman's Terms is basically the show that I use to take issues that I think are complex and make them simplified, so that the people that are that are young like you, have a family that they're busy raising, are paying their taxes, taking their kids to soccer practice, maybe catching a football game on Sunday if they're lucky. They don't have time to do the research that you and I do on some of these subjects. And there are a few subjects that I know very well, given my career, my background. And of course, what we're going to discuss today is one of them. And to the audience, Dan was born in Jordan, raised in Lebanon, like yours truly. Um, uh, Came to the United States, has written a book called Islam, Israel, and the West. And as you all know out there, Islam has been in the news a lot recently. I think probably October 7th was probably the beginning of it. And it's just been growing and growing. And of course, the culmination was the election of a Muslim as Muslim socialist as the mayor of New York. So, Dan, with that, I'm going to give you the ground and have you tell us about yourself and what you're working on. And I'll be off and on interjecting. The idea here is we want to introduce uh, Islam to our audience, and we're going to try very hard not to have biases so that they can decide themselves, but we have to tell the truth.
Sure.
So, all right.
Guy, I'm thrilled to be with you. Thank you for having me. As you said, I was born in Jordan, and I moved to Lebanon when I was almost 19 years old after converting to Christianity. So I wasn't raised in Lebanon, but you could say that my impressional years, I spent them in Lebanon. I worked in the Middle East for the next 14 years. I was the regional director of a global Christian organization. We did a lot of humanitarian and proselytizing work across 8 different countries. In 2023, I moved to the United States after the birth of my child. He was 4 months old at the time, because I didn't want him to grow in the Middle East. And not for security reasons only. As someone who is from a Muslim background, living in the Middle East is not an easy thing to do, because you're not free to practice your faith, maybe in Lebanon, and not even all Lebanon. It's like with the process of time, it's become more difficult. But beside Lebanon, it's not easy. I'm always threatened that my identity would be revealed. So I had to remain really low profile most of the time. But the reason is because I believe that Islam conditioned the society to grow or develop what I call a slavery mentality. So people unconsciously, they just recreate dictators all the time. And the reason is that their imagination about authority is distorted because of Islam. Islam introduces a God who is a bully, who is a dictator, who is, there is no personal relationship. And that imagination manifests in their reality, and they keep just reproducing the same pattern of governance.
So,
And
so
people,
if I may quickly, so you converted while you were in Jordan, correct?
True. Yeah.
Okay. And then that's when you came to Lebanon. Yes. Okay.
True.
And then the second thing was You're so right, and I just want to explain this to the audience here. What you said about strongmen, people that are it's always one powerful man that's running the whole show. That's what we had in Syria with Assad. That's what we have in Iraq with Saddam. That's what every place, Egypt. They're always very, very powerful one man. And thank you for explaining to us that this is actually related to the
It
religion.
is. It is theological in nature. People misunderstand this, and they think, you know what, it's poverty, it's education, it's none of that. It's how you view the ultimate authority. Who represents the ultimate authority in your life? You will feel at home when you create something similar to that authority, to that
Yeah.
system. That's why a secular leader cannot survive in the Islamic world. They will take him down immediately. Doesn't matter. It's like uh, because it will produce some kind of cognitive dissonance. It's like they believe something about authority outside. It's different, so they have to reconcile that. So they take them down all the time. Anyway, so and as a result, people grow the slavery mentality. So they don't feel like they have intrinsic value. They don't defend themselves. They don't. There's some, it's like fear is prominent in that culture, even though we see a lot of expressions of power and strength, and it's just fake. The real strength, the internal strength is absolutely non-existent because of the political system, which is the result of the theological system. So I was like, in my mind, I don't want my son to grow in this environment. I want him to grow in a different world, the Western civilization, where people are free and they have real value. They know their values.
Okay.
So we moved here just a couple months before October 7. October 7 happened. Of course, as someone from Muslim background who is an expert in religions and my understanding of Islam, I spent many years trying to help Muslims see how destructive Islam is. And when October 7 happened, and I was like, I was really saddened by that, not because of only the killing and the pain and suffering, but because Iran did that to halt the peace talking between Israel and Saudi Arabia. Because Mohammed bin Salman, just a week before that, he told Fox News that yes, we are in negotiation and we're getting somewhere, meaning with Israel.
Yep.
So I made a video and I explained how I believe that Hamas was only like the hound dogs of Iran, just delivering what Iran wanted. But I was in the next few weeks, I was completely shocked by the response in the West.
As we were, yes.
It's like
New York City, Colombia, right?
it's like since day one,
Yeah.
the Jewish people were still identifying bodies when the mob, the pro-Hamas crowds on the streets, saying from the river to the sea. Which river, which sea? They have no idea about it. From the river to the sea, let's destroy Israel. Just like, and of course, I know that Islam wants to take over the world. It's not the Muslims. It's not like the majority of Muslims. They just want to run away from the Islamic countries. They throw themselves in the Mediterranean, hoping to reach the shores of freedom. But they are conditioned, as I say, to always recreate the same system. So they get to Europe, and we want to apply Sharia law. It's like even Muslim countries don't apply Sharia law. What are you talking about? But it's still, whatever. I know that Islam wants to take over the world and controls the people to participate in achieving that. And there are players who are real players. They are funded and they have agenda and they have an ideology. And so they are working hard in order to control the Muslim population in the West, to steer them toward reaching that goal. But what was shocking is how this alliance, even though it was building up for decades, the alliance is as old as the Bolsheviks helping manufacture Palestine in the 20s, but still, it was shocking because it infiltrated the West, and now we have transsexuals, feminists, liberal Jews,
Queers,
Christian clerics, all led by a Muslim immigrant chanting together, death to the IDF. It's like, what do you know about the conflict, you idiots? What do you know about the conflict? Absolutely nothing. So I decided, okay, I have to do something. And I started an organization. And since October 7 until today, 2 years of building that organization in silence. I'm not talking to people publicly about it. We're launching in January the Ideological Defense Institute, which is a group of experts, people who are former Muslims, Arab Christians, people who know what Islam is, or how Islam is a threat to the West. And this alliance with these groups of people who are highly educated, over-educated, but their education system made sure that they embrace one-sided narrative, that Marxist, post-colonial Edward Said narrative. The world is the powerful and the weak, and if you're weak, regardless of the context, the fact, you are on the right. And so we are going to educate the lawmakers, the public about this, because this is absolutely crucial. It is the future of those civilization is on stake. So that's my story.
So with that, I don't want to take over your future launch, but I'd like you to help my listeners understand. Okay, so what do Americans hear today? Some of the things that they hear everything that you said, and we'll talk about the red and the green. I've read a bunch of books in French on this, and I'm very familiar with that.
And you add the black now, but okay.
Yeah. Islam is the religion of peace.
Sure.
So tell me about that. That's what people hear, and they walk away, and they're like, okay, we like one in America. We like one sentences that kind of make a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
Let it be. So Islam is a religion of peace. So
what happened is simply this: on 9/11, Islam attacked New York. Islam was exposed as the religion of terrorism, and there was a backlash. And the governments in the United States and the UK, they said, well, we don't want this backlash. We want to protect our society and our Muslim population. So they came up with this made-up term, Islamism, and they said, okay, Islamists are a group of people who misinterpret Islam, and they're the fringe. Islam is a religion of peace. George W. Bush taking the platform saying, oh, Islam is a religion of peace. And they changed the terminologies in the official documents. And since then, what happened is, I want you to imagine this. A thief entered your house, and you know that person, and he stole from you. And then the following morning, you see him, and you say, you're the thief. I saw you. And then a couple hours later, you say, I'm sorry, you're not the thief. But both of you know that, So what happened is that the thief is going to double down. Why? Because that is some kind of compensation. because the thief is like, you accuse me, even though it's real, but still, since you denied it, it's your problem. So the same thing happened after 9/11. At the beginning, it was Islam is the responsible for terrorism, and suddenly, no, Islam is the religion of peace. So Muslims doubled down on that, capitalized on that, and pushed for more immigration policies, more accommodations, more privilege. And look at the numbers of Muslim immigrants to the West before 9/11 and after 9/11. It's so clear what happened. So back to the idea of Islam is the religion of peace. They try to frame Islam as just, another religion like Christianity, Judaism. Even the violence in Islam is similar to the violence that Christianity used to have. And it's in the Bible. It's everywhere. Christians were really brutal. So it must be that Christianity is also a religion of violence. And with some reformation, we can get there. But of course, it's all hocus pocus, whatever the word is. But Islam is different than Christianity, different than Judaism. In Islam, that text itself commands violence and not limited to a certain geography or a certain time. It's an absolute commandment to establish the rule of Allah everywhere. The man-made laws that rules us and organize our lives as human beings is absolutely rejected in Islam. Islam is superior to the man-made law. In Christianity, there is no violence in the text to begin with, but even if there is violence, Christianity doesn't have an ambition to get hold of the political power in order to impose its understanding and its word of view on the people. Even when that happened back in the days, it was a politicians who used the religious authority. It was not because the text was misinterpreted. Beside that, number two, there is no interpretations in Islam. It's like Islam has one superior interpretation called Muhammad. Look at the life of Muhammad, his battles, how did he live. That is Sharia. That is Islam. That is the interpretation of Islam. I don't care about you look at the text and you say, oh, I understand it this way. They understand it that way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, Muslims look up to Muhammad, and Muhammad is the ceiling of morality. Muhammad is the ethical ceiling. It's like, okay, Muhammad hated. It's not possible that I don't hate. I'm not better than Muhammad. If Muhammad hated, then I can hate. If Muhammad fought the infidels, then I can fight. If Muhammad took sex slaves, I could do the same. So Muhammad is the embodiment. He is the incarnation of Islamic interpretation. We have some books called Interpretation, Al-Qartubi, Al-Tabari, Ibn Kathir, but who cares? Because these books, they literally just narrate stories about Muhammad. That is the interpretation. It's not like Judaism, where you have the rabbis fighting and killing each other over the meaning of certain things and debating, and there is this freedom of conscience, the room to think and reason and struggle and wrestle with an idea. In Islam, it doesn't exist that way. In Islam, it's what Muhammad did, you must do. He is the example. He's the ideal. He's the perfect person. So, if we say that Islam is the religion of peace, then I want those who claim that to explain to me, how is Islam responsible for 360 million casualties in its history as a result of a direct result of its conquest in India, North Africa, and the Middle East, and Egypt? It's like erasing civilizations. What about my ancestors? I am pretty sure that they did not choose Islam because Islam was beautiful. We were living in northern Israel, southern Lebanon, and Islam came to us with a sword. Sharhabil bin Hasna or whoever came, they did not come with like, oh, it's a beautiful message of Islam, convert. No, I believe they were about to kill my grandfather and rape my grandmother, but they didn't have money to pay the jizya, so they converted. Of course, I don't like that. and I wish if I can just do something, like hit my grandfather in the face for converting.
So,
But
so you made a you said a word that again I want you to define for us. So jizya. So the way this it works is they will move to the next territory, take it over, and then when they're actually as part of the takeover, what happens to the to the actual indigent people, the people that existed there?
it's very simple, Guy. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to take your house. And, oh, don't misunderstand me, please. You can live there, but you have to pay me money so that I could protect you. And then you tell me, hey, Danny, I don't need your protection. I just want you out of the house. And I tell you, no. This house belongs to Allah. And Allah sent me to take over. If you want to join us, you could become a partner. But if you don't, then you have to pay jizya. If you say no, we have to kill you. I'm sorry. It's the text. It's not me. This is I'm being sometimes satirical, but seriously, this is literally Islam and Islamic conquest. They went to Egypt and they told the Christian Coptics, we are here in the land of Allah. Allah gave us the entire earth. Everything belongs to him. Convert to Islam, pay jizya, or die. Same thing. Actually, the Patriarch of Jerusalem, when Jerusalem was under siege by Muslims, he wrote a letter to the Patriarch of Antakya. And in that letter, he said, the Arab gangs are, they're at our walls, and they sent us two options: pay the jizya or pay money, or we will kill you. He did not mention the third option. And I don't believe that he just dropped it intentionally. It was not there. If it was there, he would have mentioned it. That tells you that they actually were just repeating the same pre-Islamic raids, because the Arab tribes in the Arab Peninsula, they were living off raiding each other. It was like legal to raid each other 8 months of the year. And that's how they lived. I'm sorry. So they were doing the same thing, but outside the borders of the Arab Peninsula. It's like because of Islam now, they are actually, Islam is simply the globalization of Arabism. That's it. It was a religion created to take that identity and just to globalize it.
Okay, so when you pay the jizya, what happens if you have it to pay it?
We will protect you, but there are conditions. You're a second-class citizen because you're not a Muslim. So you have, first of all, you have to live under Islam.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm looking for people to understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there are certain conditions. You can't build new temples, new churches, new synagogues. You cannot renovate old synagogues or churches. If a Muslim enters a place and you're sitting, you have to stand out of respect, because the Quranic verse in Surah 9, verse 29 says, until they pay the jizya while they are humiliated. Of course, the English translation is while being humbled or something like that. It's like they try to soften it. It's like always trying to soften the language.
Yeah.
It's like, no. It's like humiliated. Saghirun in Arabic. It's like make them feel little, feel disgusted. It's like you are disgusted with them because they are non-believers. They are defiled. They are impure. So, when you walk on the street, you cannot walk in the middle. You have to walk, it's like by the edges, to give the impression that you are an animal. You're nothing, as long as you're not a Muslim. You're not a Muslim. You don't have the same privilege. You cannot feel good about yourself. And you have to wear certain colors, other colors prohibited in you. It's like, this is, of course, after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, or to be fair, in the middle of the 19th century, the Ottoman Empire, they introduced something called Tanzimat reform, because the Ottoman Empire in the 19th century, they were struggling, and Europe was really peaking and booming, and so they wanted to follow in the trajectory of Europe. So they tried to install some kind of reformation. So they, for the first time in the history of Islam since days of Muhammad until 1856, I believe, that Dhimmi system was abolished by the caliphate, and Jews and Christians were not to abide by it. However,
So you
the
said
Muslim
something
world was
else.
not happy with the Tanzimat reform. That's
So you said
that's one of the reasons. Go ahead.
So you said something else that was, you used the word dhimmi. So if you can define that for us too, because
Dhimmi?
Dhimmi.
Dhimmi is the person who follows the Dhimmitude system, which is a label for non-Muslims living in Islamic lands under the authority of Islam.
Exactly.
And of course, Dhimmis develop some kind of Stockholm syndrome, and they start loving their occupiers. It's psychology. It's evolutionary concept. It's like you want to survive, so you start loving your. Some of them are masochists, like they love to be humiliated. And I'm talking here about Arabic Christians. Some of them, not all of them. They're defending Islam and defending Hamas, and especially it's like some Palestinian Christians. They're like, oh, Israel is occupying us. And it's like, seriously? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? If it was not for Israel, you know what would have happened to you? Of course, they keep saying things like, before Israel, we were living, we were coexisting happily. It was amazing. It's only the Zionists, when the Zionists came, they divided us. Of course, that's ridiculous to begin with. It's like, historically speaking, it all was Christian territory. The Middle East and North Africa, all of it. It was Christian territory, and it was transformed into Islamic territory. And now you're living as dhimmi minorities. You need really, it's like to go through 1,000 layers in order to get a permission to fix or renovate a room inside your church. And you blame Israel for that? But anyway, it's like, that's the Stockholm syndrome of Dhimmitude. I'm talking about this, and it's like in an article I'm writing now. So it's ridiculous. But anyway, so it's like, long story short is this: Islam sanctified violence. Islam did not only introduce violence in the 7th century and then it was changed. No, it sanctified it eternally.
Yeah.
So as long as Islam rules, there is violence. By the text, by the example of Muhammad, and anyone who claims that Islam is a religion of peace is being laughed at by Muslims, because Muslims themselves know that it's not. But of course, in this designed, manufactured version of Islam that was, it was designed intentionally for the Western consumption, Islam is so beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. So you answered my question. Now there's going to be, I'm going to challenge you a little bit, not for me, but as you launch your endeavor, because they're out there. I've talked to them. Hey, Columbus came to America and he gave them all the plague and they all died, and the church was right behind him, forcing them to become Christians.
Sure. First of all, we need to understand that Islam even responsible for that. Do you know that? Columbus actually went on that journey because the Europeans were trying to find other routes, because Muslims were it's like blocking the routes of trade, and so they were threatening the European. What do you call it? It's like when the ships go for trade, there's a name for it. Anyway, so they were blocking the road and threatening them. So they had to find another way. So they suggested, okay, why don't we go west? So Islam indirectly is responsible for what happened. So it's great. It's like Islam discovered America, of course. You know, Mahdi Hassan, he was saying that, you know, the slaves, they built America, the Muslim slaves, they built America. Of course, how many were they? It's like 3.5 Muslims. But anyway, it's like hijacking the history is something. Actually, I'm talking about this all the time. It's like, just wait a little bit. Okay. Just probably in 10, 20 years, this narrative is going to grow. It's going to be like, our grandfathers, the Muslim slaves, we want their right. We want what is the word? Repatriation, or
reparations.
Reparations. They will ask for reparations for the 20,000 Muslim slaves who built America. This narrative is going to build up just the same way Palestine was built up. Because in the 20s and the 30s, there absolutely was no Palestine, and Arabs did not believe in Palestine. They considered Palestine to be a colonial imposition on Islamic countries, and they did not want it at all. They refused it. They rejected it. And then suddenly, subhanallah, within 20 years, it's like, oh, Palestine, we want Palestine. Of course, it's going to happen here. But anyway, when Columbus did that, Christian colonialism or European colonialism is different than Islamic colonialism. Christian colonialism was not inspired by a sacred text. It was inspired by people who thought we need to make the world Christians by force. It's like some of them, of course, but it has nothing to do with the sacred scripture. We don't read in the New Testament anywhere that God is saying, go and force them to believe. It's absolutely, it's not there, because Christianity was built on the fact that faith is a gift from God. And you go to the world and you tell them about the love of God and about the beauty of God, about his majesty, his greatness. You don't force people to, besides that, Christianity is not some kind of an identity that wants to control the political landscape. They don't care about that. I'm talking about biblical Christianity. When the church used its religious authority to do whatever the church did, it was not based in scripture. They just held the Bible and they said, we represent this. We talk for this. But actually the Bible at the time, it was not even translated to the language of the people. And that's what incentivized Martin Luther to lead the Protestant Reformation. And the first thing he did was translating the Bible into German language for the public to read it, because it was limited to the clerics, to the religious clerics to access the Bible. So the Islamic conquest is a commandment by Allah and by Muhammad. Allah is saying in the Quran, I sent my messenger so that my religion could be superior to every other single religion. That's why Islam is not only a religion, it's a political ideology. And the set of beliefs that Islam introduces is meant to be imposed on the society by the political power they are advised to pursue. So it's not like Christianity. In Christianity, we have Jesus saying, give what to Caesar, what to God. In Judaism, it's very clear, whether in the Torah or in the rabbinical writings, the Jewish law only applies to Jewish people. They don't want to impose it on the Gentiles. They don't want to take over any land and impose it on people from different backgrounds. They just want to impose it in their land, which is as big as New Jersey. And that's it. They don't want to expand. Israel, actually, since 1948 until today, lost more land, bigger in size than Israel gained. But of course, Israel wants to expand. However, Islam, which started in Mecca and now it's from Spain to India, it's not expansionist. It was, by love. It was. So
Okay, so I'm going to switch us to two more subjects here. So immigration into Europe, and then of course immigration into the U.S. and the compatibility of the systems. And so let's go a little bit. How are you feeling about all these things that are going in Europe? Because what are the populations now? Per country. So I thought I always, I'm French oriented, so I only paid attention
yeah.
to what's happening in France. But I traveled to London, so I see what's happening in London. I have no idea what happens in other places. So what's been going on?
I think the number in France, I believe we have 5-6 million Muslims. In Britain, we have 3-4 millions. In Sweden, a couple millions. In Denmark, things like that. I don't care about these numbers, because at the end of the day, it only takes 5% of the population to be Muslim to start the snowball. You have higher birth rate among Muslims, and you also have the ambition to seek the political power, which, if not embraced by all Muslims, because many of them are there just to work and live a good life, but it is embraced by Islamic organizations who control the Muslim population, and Muslims are conditioned to always side with the Islamist. There's no Islamists, just Muslims, but they always side with them. They will try to come up with some kind of justification to masquerade jihad, just like what happened in among the Muslims in America when it comes to Hamas on October 7th. So from Hamas perspective, it is jihad. It is jihad. Muslims in America, they were saying, no, it's not jihad, it's liberation, freedom fighting. So that is the mask of jihad. The same thing is happening in Europe. Whenever you have a terrorist attack, lone wolf, they would always try to attach it to some kind of an external reason. As like in one example, the Sweden government took his daughter from him, and they wanted to convert her to Christianity. That's the reason. They don't say, the Swedish government took the girl because she was abused by him. Because in the Islamic world, you could abuse your children and nobody's going to say anything to you. You cannot do that in Sweden. They say, no, they are kidnapping the children. The government in Europe, they're kidnapping Muslim children to convert them to Christianity. And that's why they're doing this and doing that.
And you probably saw, you saw in England, the train killings a couple weeks ago. The headline was 2 British citizens killed a bunch of people on the train. It's like,
of course.
So I had to go research because I couldn't believe it, right? And it was, Muhammad, what's his name, and Ali,
it's always
Muhammad
Ahmad Mahmoud, as Professor Gadsad say.
And you go, but they're British, because so it's always
it's listen. I find it really funny when people like Mahdi Hassan and Bassem Youssef, and they would be like, we don't our tax money to go to Israel. It's like, our tax money, our government. It's like, having a passport doesn't make you American. Paying taxes doesn't make you American. It's like, you could use this language. I know that they love to use this language. It's like, because they want to transform America. It's like they want to transform the West. They have this complex. They have this thing. It's like, they know they're coming from a world that was, by any standards, is way inferior to the West. Way inferior to the West. And they made it to the pinnacle of human achievement, the Western civilization, which is the product of Judeo-Christian heritage. It's like they cannot
Yes.
deny it. It's like
Yes.
it's a Christian. Donald Trump yesterday said, we're going to save our Christian population in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So they know that it's Christian. It's the West is a Christian, whether they like it or not. So they have this inferiority complex. It's like when they come here, it's like they want to transform it. So it's not, it's like, look at, as Jesus said, look at the fruit. Look at the fruit of Islam. Look at the fruit of Christianity. Come on. It's like, do I really need to see anything beyond that? But anyway, so
So,
you have Mahmoud Mamdani, the father of Zahran, in his
yeah.
book, talking about how, 9/11 America is to be blamed for 9/11. It's the Cold War and what the CIA and the Reagan's administration did with Al-Qaeda. America is responsible for the emergence of Islamic terrorism. It's not the theology. And of course, the Islamic seminaries in America, they love that book and they just, assign it to their students. Read it. Islamic theology is not the reason. It's America. It's like, yeah. It's just like, they love that. They love to say that. But we know, as people who come from Islam, who used to go to the mosque 5 times a day and listen to the teachings, to the sermons, we who watch Arabic news, you just need to watch Al Jazeera in Arabic. Forget the English. That is like, it goes through filtration. Just listen to the Arabic. It's like you have guests on Al Jazeera all the time. It's like Al Jihad, Al Islam, they hate Islam. It's like we need to, it's like raise the flag of La ilaha illallah. It's like we don't, it's like that's why I am struggling to deal with the fact that too many stupid idiots, useful idiots in the West, too many useful idiots. It's like you show them the evidence, you show them they don't want to believe. Why? Because they're living in their delusions that no, Islam is good, just another religion. You're a bigot, you're Islamophobe, you're a Zionist. They paid you $7,000. It's like, but guys, look at history. It's like they're being selective when it comes to colonialism, for God's sake. It's like, or European colonialism. What about Islamic colonialism? What about that?
Yeah.
What about slavery trade? Islamic slavery trade. If it was not for the United States and the Human Rights Declaration, which was inspired by the Bible, Saudi Arabia until 1965 was selling slaves. Mauritania still trading slaves until today. It's like, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, I even though my language is limited, I've always thought it's very ironic that the word abd is when I was growing up. That's how you referred to black people, and abd means slave. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's within the culture. So one question before I move to America. So who's pulling the strings? This doesn't happen without money. It doesn't happen without resources, logistics.
It keep metastasizing actually from time. It's like in the 60s, it was King Faisal pouring a lot of money and resources behind the Muslim Brotherhood in order to discredit Gamal Abdel Nasser or to take down Abdel Nasser, because he and all the Arab leaders were threatened by Gamal Abdel Nasser. But of course, they did it under the label of fighting communism. It's like Islam, atheism. So they used that, but it was political jealousy. Gamal Abdel Nasser was popular, loved across the Arab world. So he funded the Islamic movements in the 60s and the 70s. They reshaped the region completely. They destroyed the brief modernity that was brought to us, to our region, on the hands of the British and the French during the Mandate. They destroyed that. Then you have Saudi Arabia and continued to do that because of the Iranian revolution, the Islamic revolution in Iran. So there was some kind of imbalance. So they wanted to balance it. And we don't forget, of course, the Western powers who invested in terrorist or groups, terrorist organizations for political reasons, for a strategic interest. Then you have, we have the emergence of ISIS, which happened as a result of the toppling of Saddam Hussein and the Sunni Shi'i, the reviving of the old Sunni Shi'i conflict. In the West, we have the history of the Muslim Brotherhood in the West since the beginning. The Muslim Brotherhood, their eyes are on the West because the West is so powerful and they could use the resources that if they just imagine, if they get to power in any Western country, imagine the resources, imagine the political strength that they will attain. So the Muslim Brotherhood, they are supported by Qatar, they're supported by Turkey. So it's really, and you have, of course, you have individuals with a lot of money, you have religious people. It's like we have 8,000 members of the royal family in Saudi Arabia. How many amongst the 8,000 who love the Muslim Brotherhood? If there are 10, then that is access to hundreds of millions of dollars.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
If MB asks Mohammed bin Salman is moderate or open-minded, it doesn't mean that no Saudi money is going into. But of course, they changed the strategy. Today, and I tell this to lawmakers all the time, it's like, don't worry about terrorist attacks. They don't care. They don't want that. Terrorist attacks, they harm them. They actually would stand against terrorist attacks today because they're accomplishing a lot more. Being presented as, political player and partners and non-profit organizations and educational institutions. Why would they do terrorist attacks? It's stupid. They're doing it the right way now. They are creating voting blocks. They are, recruiting volunteers, pushing, endorsing candidates. That's what they want. Why would anybody seek to explode a building? It's stupid to think that. If you can control the city, why would you destroy a building?
Blow up, And the idea is the same, which is they're using the Muslim Brotherhood eventually wants to do what was in the Quran, which is to take over everything. And that's still the goal, right?
The Muslim Brotherhood, they believe if you read through the writings of their pioneers, if you read it through Hassan al-Banna, Sayyid Qutb, Abdul Hamid Kishk, it's always about Islamic governance. It's always about establishing the Islamic government. And democracy is a vehicle for them. So that's their, actually, if you look at ISIS and the Muslim Brotherhood, they're enemies. Why? Because the Muslim Brotherhood are pragmatists. They're pragmatists. They're, it's like, okay, the end justify the means. So let's ride the vehicle of democracy in order to reach our goal. ISIS, they don't agree to that. No. Because this is haram. It's not in accordance with the Islamic teaching. No, we establish the rule of Allah instantly. We don't dance around the idea. So that's why they hate each other. Don't think that Muslim Brotherhood, they love to present themselves with, it's like they pay a lot of money for neckties and suits. And, and they do laser for their beards. If you look at Ismail Haniyeh, that's like he did laser before Israel sent him to meet Allah. But it's like, so they present themselves as, we're like political player and partners. And ISIS, we condemn ISIS, we condemn terrorism. But the Muslim Brotherhood are the fountain the spring which caused all of these terrorist groups to emerge around the world. It's the ideology. It is the hand that manufactured the gun that ISIS used to shoot me.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's of course, again, it's all about appearances. We have too many jihadis today in the United States and Europe who are, they look very modern in their suits, in their language, no beards. They act and look like any atheist or Christian or Jews. It's like, so that's very deceiving. But
Taqiyyah.
actually, it is just, it's
Taqiyyah.
it's taqiyya, yeah, it's taqiyya, and it's one of the tactics that the Muslim
Which
Brotherhood employ.
so I'd like you to please define Taqiyyah to our audience, and then let's talk about Islam and the United States.
I don't like when many people in the West use the word taqiyya, to be honest with you, because
Okay.
the concept of taqiyya is to do or say what you don't believe in order to expand Islam. So, but actually, even though the concept is Islamic, but the majority of Muslims, they don't know the term, and they don't do it because of the term. They're just conditioned to do it.
Okay.
They're just conditioned to do it. So you understand what I mean? So when too many people in the West, they keep repeating it, and Muslims hear that, and it's like, I don't know what that is, then that discredits the argument. So don't use it. It just say Muslims would do anything to expand Islam. Anything is justified.
Okay.
Lying, killing, blowing things up, doesn't matter. As long as it serves Allah, it's justified. It's a virtue. It's a righteous thing to do. So that's the concept of taqiyya. It is natural product, natural result of this ideology.
Okay, so now Islam and the U.S. were okay. So we have a New York mayor who's Muslim.
Yeah.
Dearborn, the police has patches in Arabic, so they tried. Praying in the streets, which I don't understand. By the way, I don't understand what praying in the streets means. So maybe you can
It's
help us with that.
it's demonstration of power.
Okay.
So it has nothing to do with the praying, of course. The majority of people who pray on the streets, who participate in public prayers, they don't pray. And I know that from myself. I used to be a Muslim.
Yeah.
I would be like not praying at all, but if I see 5 people praying on the street, oh, let's do it, because we want to show allegiance to Allah. Maybe Allah, the bully, is going to be pleased with that, because it's like, he doesn't like me because I don't do anything. I don't pray. I don't do anything. But now that is a demonstration of allegiance to Islam and to Allah. I'm going to participate.
Sure. Got it.
Of course, it's like, it's like, and this is not exclusive to Islam. It's like many groups of different cultures, they want to demonstrate prominence and superiority. But in Islam, it's political. It's not to compensate for anything. It's political. It's like, and that's the call to prayer. It's like call to prayer on loudspeaker. It has absolutely nothing to do with spirituality. It's ridiculous. It's like, I remember when I was a Muslim teenager, there is something during Ramadan. It's called the Msaharati. Young men would go at 3 a.m. to, as they are hitting on the drums, to wake up the people so that they could eat before the dawn, before the sunlight. So it was like something cultural and Islamic at the same time. It's like doing it as a part of the religion. I remember when I was like 16 years old, at 3 a.m., 3:30, I would go with my friends to, wake people up we would just wander on the street and yell some kind of chant. And many people would wake up and start yelling at us, "Go home, go home. We have alarms. We don't want you anymore." And I'm talking about Muslims, right?
Yeah.
So many Muslims in Egypt on TV, they would say, "We don't want the call to prayer. It's like it's pollution. It's like you are disturbing us."
Yeah.
And they would, of course, be attacked by religious people and Al-Azhar and this and that. So Muslims themselves, they don't like this disturbance, this annoyance. They don't
Good.
like it.
Okay.
So,
Good. Because
but in the
I didn't
West,
either.
it's we want it. All the Muslims, no Muslim in America would say, "No, I don't want public call to prayer on loudspeakers." Why? For the same reason, it's political. We are here. We're coming.
Okay.
And,
So
and
what
that's
happens?
how Mamdani was celebrated across the Islamic world.
So
It doesn't
what
matter that
happens?
Mamdani is, yeah, go ahead.
So what happens next in the United States with regards to the Muslim resurgence, if you like? Because
I
now it's with him. I mean, you and I know the nuances, right? I mean, I laugh because it's like this guy is going to open transgender clinics in New York, and the imam is saying, "Hey, bravo, bravo," but he doesn't even know because the imam just knows that he's a Muslim. So the irony of the
yeah.
whole thing is crazy. But he's in. They're proud. As you say, it's always about showing. So what happens in America next?
People need to understand that Mamdani, in the eyes of the majority of Muslims, in the eyes of 90% of Muslims, is an infidel because he's a Shia, and 90% of Muslims are Sunnis.
So I
So
don't know he was
that's the
Shia. He's
war.
Shia. I didn't know
He's
he was
Shia.
Shia.
Yeah.
He is. Oh
Yeah,
my
he's
God.
Shia Ithna Ashari. So it's like
Oh.
he belongs to the group that is fighting ISIS and fighting in the Middle East. So why do you think it's
Yeah.
like, but of course,
The Houthis.
again, it's all about it. Yeah, Houthis. Saudi Arabia is Sunni, Houthi are Shia. So Zohran Mamdani belongs to the Houthi.
Okay.
Anyway, it's like, that's what I said. Appearances. It's like in their eyes, he's a Muslim. Nobody, even Guy Nohra from Lebanon, doesn't know that he's a Shia, right?
Yeah.
So he's a Muslim. That's what matters. As long
Yeah.
as everybody knows that he's a Muslim, this is a triumph for Islam, baby. But he's an infidel. No, not now. I don't care now. It's like, but he's going to legalize prostitution. He's a Muslim. That's what matters. He endorses transsexualism, and it doesn't matter.
Free
Behind the
clinics.
closed doors,
Yeah.
we'll tell him, come on, buddy. But now, of course, there were like 10 faithful Muslims who organized something like Muslims Against Mamdani. It's like 10, 15 guys who are like, oh, we cannot accept that. But these just some old people who don't understand anything about what's going on with the Muslim Brotherhood and Qatari money. And so they were
Okay.
like just expressing how they were desperate. Like, you're a Muslim, you cannot legalize prostitution. We have other means. We have other means. We have legalized prostitution through religious means. We have 4 wives. We
She
have
becomes a what?
sex slaves. If there is an Islamic state, we have Malikat Yamin concubines. We have a lot of ways. Why prostitution? I don't know how. I don't know. Just I don't know what does prostitution would look like in an Islamic state, because everything is legal under different names. You have misyar marriage, you have mut'a marriage. It's like, what is prostitution? If I am to be some kind of a pimp in the Islamic state, how does that look like? Please describe it to me. How is that any different from mut'a or misyar? But of course, again,
Too
Muslims
many.
themselves, they are victims of this ideology. They don't know.
Okay. So the United States. So You know,
Yeah,
we're hearing
the
about
United States.
compounds in Texas that are going to have Sharia law on its own. We're
Yeah,
seeing consolidation. They're becoming important voting blocks. How do you push back on that? Should we push back on
I'm.
that? I mean, is it?
I of course I'm less worried about the United States. The United States is an empire, and immigration laws is very strict. We have Muslims at 1.5% now. It's going to take them 1,000 years to become the majority. But what and I want to clarify this. My concern about Islam in the United States in particular is not about Sharia law. It's not about public beheading or uh, uh, morality police. It's like because people think of that when they think of Sharia or amputation of that. No. So my concern is the values that built the West, which is freedom of speech, which makes America great, freedom of dissent. Muslims will keep pushing and electing officials in order to criminalize hate speech. Hate speech in America is not criminalized, and it shouldn't be criminalized because this is what makes America special. They want to push for blasphemy laws. And of course, they use a very deceiving way to do it. They start with, oh, we don't want Jesus to be insulted. Christians shouldn't accept that. Let's push for blasphemy laws. And you have poor Christians. Oh, yeah, we don't want Jesus to be insulted. Sure, let's do that. And we end up with blasphemy laws. So my concern in America is individual liberties. It's freedom of dissent. If we become like the UK, 12,000 people every year are jailed in the UK as a result of speech, hateful speech. Can you imagine the number? 12,000 people for posting on X. If I'm in the UK, this interview would result that both of us end up in jail.
Yeah.
We don't want America to go down this trajectory.
Okay.
So that's the problem. That's the problem with Islam in the West. Other than that, I don't really see. It's like I don't. It's going to take a lot of time, and of course, America is a country with the Second Amendment. That's what makes it really scary. But at the same time, you have Americans who are armed, so it's not going to be a walk in the park. But also, millions of people who are Muslims will have access to the Second Amendment. And if 1% of them is
Trained
or they don't follow the policy jihad, they want the military jihad.
ISIS jihad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna just like what happened last week in Dearborn with the FBI and this cell they code.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we need to in the United States as early as possible. Islam should be categorized as a political ideology. At least the political aspects of Islam should be criminalized. Not only the Muslim Brotherhood. I don't care about the organization because they could erupt tomorrow morning or pop up with a different name. I want the criminalization of the political aspects of Islam, seeking to apply Sharia law, seeking to establish the rule of Allah, electing officials to change laws to replace the constitution, all this kind of rhetoric, even though I am a free speech absolutist. But this is like, look, how did the United States defeat communism? It was able to defeat communism because communism was not a religion. So it was easy for the US to attack communism without any restrictions. But communism found a cover, that cover called Islam, because Islam is a religion. So today they're using each other and they're infiltrating the American society. And with what
Yeah.
happened in the education system in America, and it's scary. But again, because
Yeah.
America is so huge, I'm
Yeah.
concerned more about Europe now. But of course, if America doesn't do anything now, it's going to be probably 50 years before
Yeah.
America is in the same place where Europe now. And
Yeah.
Europe in 20 years, it will be in the place of Israel. It will be dealing with militias who are demanding separation and independence. It's like, this is the trajectory, the
Yeah.
pattern.
Well, you know, your Second Amendment argument, when I was running for governor, people would, are you for or against? And of course, I was for it. And my answer was, if the Lebanese Christians, if we didn't have weapons, when 75 came along, we would have been massacred and thrown into the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, and that's the only way we survived. So yeah, I believe in the power of weapons. So it's like one of these things where just
Absolutely. And
you,
also the main reason, which is to protect the people from the government.
and
You
exactly from the
don't want a tyrannical government to take over.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's why America is great and will remain great as long as the people are scary to anybody who's in the government.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So that's okay. So this was an incredible time today. I'm going to probably have a glossary of terms that I can help my readers and my listeners with, because you and I were losing some terms, and sometimes I didn't stop to remind you to say, hey, let's go with Dhimmi again. But I will do that. That's taken care of. I wish you the best.
Thank you
You're
so
taking
much,
on a
Guy.
very important mission. It's an important mission for this country, for the religion you and I share. So God bless you and your family, and we'll
Thank you
stay.
so much.